Not sure how much of this you're going to be able to see, but on your main drive gear here, where your pulley or sprocket mounts to, that little seal right there, what I like to do is clean them off really good and put a deep bed of black silicone around there. I haven't had a bunch of them come off, but over the years, seen a few of them where you're not even, usually it goes, drain the primary and it'll be milky looking. And, there's only two places for water to get in there, really. The vent line that runs up the back here and just kind of goes up under the seat to nothing. Sometimes the hose is missing there. Or you pull the cover off of here and the seal will just be gone. There'll be nothing there, and it'll be all rusty looking around the needle bearings that are inside the main drive gear there, which at that point you're pulling the transmission out to fix it. You have to pull the transmission, pull the main drive gear out, push the bearings out, and push new bearings in. So I always like to smear a little black silicone over there, pretty good amount. Like I said, they usually don't come out, but the ones that do come out are from, you can bet it's either from the belt being too tight, or if it's got a chain on it, from the chain being too tight. It kind of cocks pulls really hard on the main drive gear bearings and kind of distorts the end of it, and the seal will just pop out. Like I said, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. I had somebody mentioned that they didn't understand why Harley went away from having a trap door on the transmission in the 04 models. Well, the truth is that 5-speed Sportsters never really had a lot of transmission problems, ever, overall. I can remember doing maybe 2 of them over a 20-year period, probably, or 15-year period. Nah, not 15. Like 12-year period that actually had transmission problems. Both of them were due to shift drum. Both of them had little, I don't know what you'd call it, like a high spot on the shift drum where it'd catch into one of the shift forks and kind of lock up right there. And both those were just pull the shift drum out and polish the shift drum. But from a manufacturing standpoint, it makes more sense to have a case like that if you don't have transmission problems where you really need to get in there. Like in a 4-speed on the 90 and earliers, yeah, they had transmission problems, but most of them could be overcome. XR750 actually uses the same 4-speed transmission. So they're using -52 or -54 part numbers in the XR750, or were. So they worked. They just take some finagling to get them set up right, which I don't have a 4-speed. I'd love to be able to show you the little tricks on the 4-speed as far as gear engagement and shimming, shift fork selection, shimming the shifter pawl, grinding the shift stops to get better gear engagement on the dogs into the pockets. But I don't have a 4-speed, and it's been years since I've done one. But they can be done. There again, too, even on the 4-speed, most of the problems with those output shaft bearings, usually from somebody running that bad chain and not adjusting the chain correctly, and it'll have a wicked tight spot in it where you can't even move the chain. Then the bearings go out, and I've had them before where you tell the customer, hey, you know what, you need a chain, man, because the chain will be like have a damn 1.5 inches of slop in one spot, and then you roll it over and it'll be banjo tight in another. And that's side loading all those bearings. And it's smaller shaft than on the 5-speed. So 5-speed's better. as far as load distribution amongst the bearings. But overall, 5-speed's a good transmission, and you know, it made it so you don't really have to pull it apart a lot. I did screw up once. I put a Bandit machine plate on my race bike. Finished it just before Daytona. Didn't get a chance to ride it. And went down there and went out on the track, and it would like stick into between third and fourth gear. And what it was, where the detent sits, it was sticking up against the edge of the Bandit machine plate, which was a big billet plate. It was actually hitting, so sometimes it would stick right there and it wouldn't be able to shift. So I pulled it up in the back of the trailer, and I remember I'm up there in there pulling the primary off and pulling the transmission off, and somebody coming up and asked me what I was doing. I told him I was pulling the transmission. And the guy's like, "Shit, you're going to be here till midnight." I was like, "Nah, not quite. It's a cassette type transmission. I'll be here for at least a couple of hours." And luckily, I pulled the transmission out, and when I pulled the clutch off, I'm sitting there actuating the detent by hand, the shift lever, and I could see where it was hitting. It's just my mistake for not checking it really, checking it close enough. But they used to have a guy at Daytona that had an 18-wheeler that had a complete machine shop in the back of his damn 18-wheeler. I mean, complete. Had bridge ports in there, lathes, plasma cutters, welders, everything. And that's what that guy did. That was his business. He'd just go to racetrack to racetrack, big events, and do welding and machine work and fab up parts. And I took the transmission over to him, and I'm like, "Man, I just need you to mill probably like, I don't know, 80, 90 thousandths off of here. Yeah, basically just chuck it up on the Bridgeport and take an end mill and smack it right down. Take about that much off of it, just to clearance the plate." And he did, charged me like something like 20 bucks or whatever. It was cheap, if it was even 20 bucks. And went and put the bike back together and was out riding the next day for practice. Perfect. Well, I had to go by a Daytona Harley Davidson that I can't remember that guy's name. I used to know a guy that worked there, Randy. And Randy was like, "Hey man, you need to use the shop?" I was like, "Nah, Randy, I got it at the racetrack. Besides, I know what you're going to do. I'm going to come over here because it's bike week and you're going to want me to work. And, you know, I'm here racing. I'm kind of on race vacation kind of thing. And I didn't come here to work, so just forget that." But that's enough of me just running my mouth here. I'm just wanting to talk about this seal here. And check your chain. Check your belt for it's running too tight or too loose. As a general rule of thumb, you run the belt tighter than you do the chain. Belt's a little more forgiving than the chain. Chain ain't stretching that much, so if you don't, you know, if your arc or your swing arm, you know, if you need to sit on the bike and roll it, and kind of roll it forwards and backwards so you can feel where the chain is with your weight on it to get it set right, that's what you got to do. So keep up on that stuff. Anyway, that's enough of that. You know, if you like my content, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that stuff. And anybody watching, I appreciate it. I'm retired and I'm just out here messing around, so I appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a great day.